Hello, Edward O'Daniel here with VeteranLandlord.com, and this particular presentation we're going to cover some important topics regarding legal service. Now, whether you know it or not, as a personally and both professionally, legal service is something that you're ultimately going to need. Now, I wanted to create this because there's a lot of things that are going to happen throughout your life and maybe happening now that you may not know you need legal service for. So there's some things that I didn't know until a friend of mine brought them to my attention. Let me kind of go through this and kind of help you understand what I mean from a personal perspective as well as a professional perspective. So again, this is not a extended presentation. This is just really to give you some good information over some things that I want you to think about, because these are things that I find very important to me, and I think you'll probably find them very important for yourself as well. Now, personally, some of the things that most people always hear about and never really implement are things like family trusts, wills, living wills, power of attorneys, identity theft. I mean, these are all things that you kind of hear about until it happens to you or it becomes a problem. You don't really know you need it. And if you just take a little bit of time to prep and prepare in advance, these things will not become a problem for you here. Now, me personally, I'm not only just a real estate investor, property manager, landlord, I'm also a father and I'm also a husband. So I have two teenage daughters right now. I'm married. So these things come into play with me. So one of the things, I'll tell you a quick story. Me and my wife took a trip with some friends to Cancun a long time ago, back when the kids were, let's just say, 12, maybe 13 years ago. And I mean, we go to Cancun. We like it. But anyway, we went to Cancun, and my wife was actually pregnant with our second daughter during the travel time. Now, this is the thing that really kind of scared the crap out of me here is when I got when I got to Cancun, some of the friends that we're traveling with was asking us about these very topics. They were asking us, well, do you have these things set up? Do you, for instance, what would happen to both me and my wife if heaven forbid, we just died? The plane crashed, we were in a car accident, but me and my wife both were just, died. What would happen to my daughter? We hadn't prepared for that. I hadn't even thought about that as a father. How do I prepare for my child being, who's going to take care of it? What's going to happen with, for instance, all the money in our bank accounts, all the money that's in our retirement accounts, our house, our cars, our businesses? What's going to happen to all of that stuff? And how are family members going to be able to pick up the pieces and potentially help, raise your daughter, or in this case, your child, to be able to provide for them. Now, I'm just thinking to myself, when I got down there, I really didn't enjoy myself for the first couple of days, because I'm just sitting here thinking about this stuff like, man, how can I not have done this? How can I not have known about all this stuff that I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, what happens if we did die? How would somebody get to our bank accounts? Well, the bank wouldn't allow you to do that. You need to have all this information. You need to have all these things set up in order for the easy transition for somebody to be able to come in and take over in the event of your death. So I'm just like, it's not an easy topic. It's not a fun topic, but it's a topic that as a father, as a parent, even as a business owner, you need to be able to step up and have some responsibility for, because these things are important. So one of the things I want to kind of go over here, and if you guys already have this stuff set up here, great, perfect. I applaud you. This right here is just something that's so incredibly important. Once you get it set up once, you don't have to worry about it. In the back of your mind, you know that if anything were to ever happen to you, that all, your finances are handled, your, family members or whoever, for instance, you designate as the representative to come in and take care of your children or take care of your financial responsibilities. They're going to be able to come in. They're going to know what to do. They're going to have the proper documentation. They won't have a problem, and so forth. So if you ever had, I don't know if you've ever had the experience, but let's just say a lot of people experience this when a family member dies, for instance. So when a family member dies, but they don't have anything set up for, like, they don't even have a simple will. They don't have anything set up for burial insurance. And now it's the burden of the children or the burden of the family to now pay for the funeral, to now come out of pocket, figure out what's going to happen with mom or dad's or grandma's house, or what's going to happen to the money that they have in their bank account, and how do we access that? Well, now there's a lot of times you have to go to court, there's legal things and fees, and sometimes it could take months to years to go through certain types of things like probate to be able to get access to that. And that really just provides a huge burden on the family that you leave behind to, I guess, clean up after you. I mean, I'm just going to say it the way it is. So these things right here make it very easy for somebody to come and in the event of your death, be able to step in and handle your business and your situation. So one thing that we set up here that was a family trust. Now, I'm not an expert legally here, but I'm just kind of going to go through these real quick. But a family trust is basically a way of protecting all of your assets. So from your retirement accounts to your stock accounts to your bank accounts, to your cars, to your home. Once you build a family trust and you put all of your assets into the family trust, then whoever you designate as a trustee will be able to come in and then manage those for you. So let's just say if it's a husband-wife scenario and the husband were to get killed in a car accident or something like that, heaven forbid. These are not nice topics, but they need to be spoken about because they're possible. So if the husband were to die, and the husband had bank accounts in his name, had his car in his name, how would your wife be able to sit back and sell your car if they wanted to, because their name is not on the title, your name is? So there's a lot of things that you can do from a family trust here. So like for instance, the car, we just kind of went through this process not too long ago with some of our daughter's cars, but the you can put in a time of death. It's called TOD, time of death transfer. So upon your death, the car would be transferred like into your family trust. So it's in your name, like it could be in the husband's name, and then time of death, as long as you present a death certificate to the DMV, then they can transfer that to your family trust. Now that's an easy document. For instance, it's a very simple situation, but when they do transfer it over to your trust, now your wife, or the wife in this case, who is a trustee of the trust, can now step in and then sell that asset without going to probate, without having any problems, and this can be taken care of very simply and easily. So creating a family trust, it is something that you need to pay an attorney for, and it could be quite comprehensive on what you want to do. So I would definitely recommend talking to somebody about that. But setting up a family trust to hold all of your assets just makes me feel better and makes me sleep better at night, knowing that if anything were to happen, that I took responsibility to make sure it's easier for the next person to be able to handle the situations and take care of my family and my family's business. So family trust is one instrument that you can create. A will, just simply a will and living will. Sometimes people get those confused, but a will is something that happens upon your death, whereas a living will is something that happens upon not your death, but your like incapacitation. So again, just with the will real quick. So if you die, what happens to all of your stuff? So you can specify in your will, give all of the stuff that I own to this person. Now, again, a will is a good way to transfer stuff over, but sometimes if you don't set things up right, like with a family trust, you will have to pay additional legal expenses to have somebody transfer that over for you. So I would just suggest talking to an attorney about all of these instruments, but I just want to give you a quick breakdown of what these are. So again, a will happens after your death. A living will, this is something that's even more scary, at least for me. This is what happens in case, let's just say you get hit in a car accident and you don't die. Your body's still living, but you're brain dead. What happens upon that? What are your instructions? What are your medical instructions that you want to provide for your family that is going to be able to represent you in incapacitation? So if you do not want to be connected to life support, for instance, if you do not want to live that way, then you can specify those type of things in your living will, and those are handled upon your incapacitation because they're already presented and they're written down and legally documented. So that type of instrument is what you need in that situation. So for your husband, your wife, those are the things that you need to put into play. And then for instance, who has medical say over you? So if you're not married, let's just say if you're a single person, but you want your mother, your father, your aunt, your brother, your sister, one of those people to have uh, sort of medical power of attorney over you, the living trust is that instrument that you use to do that with. So that's again a very important thing that once you get set up, it's done, and you can sleep easier at night. So a durable power of attorney, again, these are things that, let's just say if you were incapacitated again, who can go out and do things with your bank account. So this is another instrument that you could potentially use. And again, a lawyer can tell you which ones you do need. And without having to go, that's about all for those type of documents. The last one is just identity theft. Now, in this technology age, I mean, with people using cell phones, with you putting credit card information and filling out online forms, even though there is security in things, I mean, you just never know what's going to happen. Somebody could potentially steal your identity. There have been break-ins with other credit card holder providers where credit card information is stolen, for instance, and your personal information may be stolen. So identity theft is a big deal. It can. I've never suffered from identity theft, and if you have, I'm not trying to bring up any emotions that you may have from that, but it is, from what I've understand with other people, it has been a huge pain to get this thing fixed. It could take months or years to get. It could affect you from years to come if you don't take and protect yourself from an identity perspective. So if you're going to move forward, if you're going to be a professional, if you're going to have assets that you're going to be utilizing, identity theft is very important. You don't want to have somebody come in and use your social security number to open up bank accounts and destroy your credit and be able to access some of your information. For instance, they may be able to even access some of your loan information, or heaven forbid, if you have something like a home equity line of credit, if they steal your identity, I mean, some people may even be able to write money against that home equity line of credit, things like that, or just access your assets. And it's completely scary, but I just don't want to see that happen to you. So this is another plan that you can utilize to help protect yourself. So these are some of the things I want to bring up to you personally, because on the veteranlandlord.com, I mean, this is a place for landlords to come and learn and to understand best practices and so forth, and just really to make yourself successful. But one of the things that make you successful is this legal protection I'm talking about. Is that if you don't put this in here, you're going to leave yourself vulnerable on one side to potential liability. So personally, this is some things I would ask you to do. Professionally, some of the other things, now we're getting away from personal and kind of dealing more with you, your business, your rental properties. If you do other things, you could do fix and flips and so forth. But there are certain entity protections here. Now, I'm not going to go deep into how I do things because I don't want to influence anybody else. Please talk with a a legal professional on how you should separate things. Talk to your CPA. Should be on the same team. So these people should be having a phone conversation or a video call to sit back and discuss how you're set up, what's the best use of legal entities to protect you. But bottom line is that even once that's discussed, you will need legal help to create an entity, whether that be an LLC, a S corporation, a C corporation, whatever that type of entity structure is, you will need a legal professional to create that for you. You will need to register. You will definitely, definitely need your like operating agreement, because your operating agreement is what is going to dictate who can do what in your business, for instance. So whenever you go get a loan or you try to finance something, a lot of people are going to want that. Well, being able to have that written by a professional, even if it is sort of a canned template from them, it's going to be able to protect you, and you're going to need it moving forward when you deal with banks and financing for sure. So how do you create document review and creation? Now, when I say document review and creation, this is, let's just take you as a landlord. If you want to have a legal notice served, for instance, this is one of the great things I like about the service that I'm going to tell you about. Legal Shield is who I use to do all of this stuff. So I find them to be very useful and affordable. You can use them, you cannot use them. I am in no way affiliated with them. I do not have an affiliate link, and I am not trying to sell you on Legal Shield. I'm just simply trying to tell you that this is a service that I found over a decade ago at this particular point that I've been using, and they're pretty much like a partner. I look at them as a partner in my business to be able to go to in case I need help. So, for instance, if I have a tenant that is not paying, okay, one of the things, you can always contact a tenant. You can always call and send them a letter and a notice and so forth that they're late. But you know what? With Legal Shield, I can actually call them and have them send a legal document with a legal letterhead, like from my attorney, to that particular person at no additional cost. That type of stuff is huge for me because as an individual, if you need to engage an attorney, I mean, you're talking potentially hundreds of dollars an hour for them to do this. And I mean, just to engage them to create a letter for you or to put a notice and so forth, sometimes attorneys don't even want to do that. It's kind of an annoyance or an irritant. But this service is built just for this. So they don't mind. They can definitely do this for you. And it doesn't cost you anything. You can send out notices and letters. You get and we'll go over that a little bit later, but it's just a really great service that I found, and I want to share that with you. So if you need to have documents created or even reviewed, so let's just say you have a new document that you get in your business, so a landlord document, and you can even do this, for instance, with a lease. Leases are not all universally compliant through each state. Each state you should have your attorney for that state look over a lease that you use, whether it be, I recommend even the lease that we have here on the Veteran Landlord. We offer a free lease, and then there's an extended one in our Landlord Starter Kit product, that goes over and it's a little bit more extendable and allows you to make some more money with that. But run that lease by your local attorney. I always have to advise that because some of the clauses and provisions that we have in the leases may not be universally applicable throughout each state. So this is, again, if you want to have something reviewed, a lawyer is going to charge you per hour for that. So it could be $100 to have them do this every time you want to have a document reviewed or looked at. So this right here is a part of their service. It's a part of their small business service. It allows you to have all these things reviewed by an attorney and make sure that, yes, it's good, or you might want to change the verbiage in this one here, and they can even help you with what you need to change that to make it legally compliant in your state. So again, a great on this advice for legal matters. Let's just say there's ever a conflict or a certain legal situation that came up between you and another property owner, or you and the tenant, or whatever. Advice, just being able to call and speak to an attorney about it, is a part of this particular program. A low monthly fee that you have to pay every month, but you can use this service every single month. And again, it's just like having that legal partner on retainer, which again makes me feel so much better, because if I ever need somebody, I know who to pick up the phone, and I know what phone number to call, and I know they're going to be able to help me out. That to me is a huge comfort. And then legal letters, and even to some respect, debt collection. They can even help you out with that. If you need to try to recover debt from a tenant, they can help you out with sending out, here's how much money that you owe. And the thing about it is that you can send this to the tenant, but it has a lot more impact when it comes from a legal law firm, because now the tenant's thinking, wow, I'm going to be sued. This is coming from a lawyer's office. I'm going to have to, I may very well be sued, and it just has more weight than maybe just a letter that you would print off with your company's letterhead on it. So Legal Shield is, again, they have personal and small business plans available. I'm just going to quickly look at their website here. Again, I'm not trying to push you. I'm always trying to give you things that can help you out in your business. So right now, go ahead and look at this. There may be other things that you go through. You might already have a service. Great. If that's the case, then if you don't have any of these documents that we talked about, I would definitely have to highly recommend going and checking out and getting these documents for both you and your family, because what you don't know can really hurt you. So I'm hoping I could shed some light on you with some of the documents and why you need them and how they're important, in your untimely death. So so this right here is Legal Shield. If you just go to LegalShield.com, I just know they have personal details. Some of the things I want to go over is just with the small business plan. So some of the key features, legal consultation. They have letters and calls that you can pick up the phone and just call them. Documents and contract creation, so they can create documents for you. Or if you do need additional fees, for instance, additional legal advice or services that are not covered in the plan, you kind of get a reduced rate by hiring one of their attorneys in one of their networks. So these are all the type of things that you can think about. Now, this is where it comes into the employees, depending on where you're at in your business. But for $39 a month, I think that to me is incredibly reasonable. It's something that I can manage as a business owner. I can just have that as a legal expense that comes out every month that will just pay for this. So I just want to at least mention that to you. So for that, you get up to 2 particular users, unlimited minutes and matters for legal consultation. I mean, you can have documents reviewed. This is the small business plan. So again, that's why I like to use it, and I would just have to highly recommend you go over all of these other features. Some of the other things I wanted to talk about here was just some of the personal plan details. So topics covered, consumer financial issues. If you ever have, and again, this is if you have the personal plan, if you ever get a ticket, they will represent you in court on this one here, which is huge because I mean, typically, if you want to go and have a traffic ticket taken care of, that's going to cost you legal fees to go have that done. Now, I'm not a heavy foot person, but I have gotten a few speeding tickets, and I have used them to represent me in court and have that ticket taken care of, and it didn't cost me anything else. So if you ever do estate planning, all of this type of stuff is covered in the personal plan. So if you come down here and take a look at the benefits, I know they might even have some. I was looking for the personal plan pricing. Maybe I'm not in the right spot here, but they offer all of these type of services for you, for your business, and you can just sit back and take a look at it here. So here's just a real quick look at some of the features that are covered. And this is from the personal side. Okay. Now, this right here again is $24 a month. So $25 a month if you want this personal protection. So if you take this 25, let's just say call it 25, add it to 40. So you're at $65 a month to cover both personally and professionally with this one here. So that's also a great one. And just trying to look for of course, I'm not finding it here, but there is identity protection here from, that's a plan. I believe it is, let me see if get a plan. So yeah, here's just some of their upfront pricing overall. So personal legal plan and even your identity theft is just $13 a month. Call it 13. But these are all things you can pick and choose. You can use whatever you want. You cannot use them at all. But identity theft is great because I mean you could put in. I use them for identity theft. So they sit back and keep track of all your bank accounts. You can put all your credit cards in there. You can put all of your information that you have in there, and they will let you know immediately whenever you have like something fraudulent that pops up. Whenever, for instance, if somebody ever tries to apply for new credit with your social security number, for instance, if somebody steals your identity and tries to go out and apply for a new credit card or a new bank account or a new loan in your name, those things will pop up and you will get notified. You'll get an email notification saying that you have a new entry on your credit report, and then they have a whole other website you can log into and see and make sure that this is valid. Because if it's not happening to you in real life, then you should take advantage and go and check that out and make sure to see what's going on with that. So check out the website here, and guys, if you can, just make sure that you sit back and protect yourself personally from these. Get these documents done because they're so incredibly important. I hope you found this very useful, and I just wish you guys the best. Thank you so much, and have a great day.